Welcome to the New England Endurance Podcast, where we celebrate the heart and soul of endurance sports here in New England. I'm your host, Art Trapotsis. We also have Eric Schenker, my co-host, and today we've got a super special episode with one of the most beloved running events in the country, not just the region, in the country. It's the Falmouth Road Race, the Asics Falmouth Road Race, based out of Falmouth, Mass. And I'm super excited to learn about it today.
Yeah, this is good. This is, I don't want to say a long time coming because we really haven't been doing the podcast for that long, but race has been mentioned a number of times. And joining us today, we're really happy to have her, is Megan Faulkner. She's the executive director of Falmouth Road Race, Inc., which is a nonprofit. And she's been a key part of this race since 2012. Her expertise in endurance sports events was honed through her work with DMSE Sports. And if many of you have listened to previous podcasts, we actually had the founder of that group, Dave McGilvery, on a previous podcast. Megan was born and raised, has never left Falmouth, the city limits. But she was born and raised in Falmouth, and she has witnessed firsthand how this event has evolved into an absolutely world-class race that not only attracts elite runners, but also brings the entire community together. Megan, welcome to the New England Endurance Podcast.
Awesome. Good morning. And thank you for having me. It's really exciting to be part of this.
I wanted to kick things off. This race, it's been mentioned a bunch of times in the podcast, but when I think of a road race, a running road race, I think of 5K, 10K, some sort of marathon. And this thing, it's a 7-miler. So can you just tell us a little bit about the race, like when it takes place, how many runners, why is it 7 miles? Why is it so awesome?
Right. So it takes place the third weekend in August every year on Cape Cod in Falmouth, Massachusetts. It started in 1973. So this is our 53rd running of the race this year. And it started from a bar to bar where two gentlemen were at a bar having a conversation. The bars at our start line in Woods Hole, Massachusetts closed at 11 o'clock. And our bars in Falmouth Heights closed at midnight, and they wanted to see if they could run from the bar and make it to the other bar before it closed. And that's where it started from there with Tommy Leonard. So pretty cool experience as to how it came about. It is 7 miles, but it's along a beautiful course along the water. We go through some pretty unique areas past the lighthouse and then end at the finish line going downhill. And it's an amazing event. I tell, before becoming the executive director, I was the director of sponsorship. And I would tell all of our sponsors that, we're not a marathon in miles, but we have the caliber of it with the spectators, the experience that people get, the expo, the whole 9 yards. So it's pretty cool.
How many runners come out for it?
We have, the town caps us at 11,400. Prior to COVID, we were at 12,800. So we're hoping to get back to the 12,800, but 11,400. Woods Hole is a small community, small area, but a beautiful section.
A lot of porta potties.
Yes, it is. A lot.
Yeah. So Megan, impressively, we do have listeners from all over the world listening. We can sort of get those metrics. And for all our New England listeners, you, of course, know where Falmouth is. But can you kind of maybe describe, for those not here in New England, where Falmouth is and what makes it such a unique place to have a race like this?
So Cape Cod is about an hour and a half south of Boston. We overlook Martha's Vineyard. So we have some beautiful scenery. It's right on the ocean, gorgeous coastal line for the whole race, which is amazing. Yeah, it's just such a beautiful town.
It's a special place for sure. But and you being a Falmouth native,
yes.
How does your personal connection to the town influence your work as the executive director?
So born and raised here. My father was in the military, was a colonel at the Air Force Base, and he retired here. I'm the youngest of 8. Growing up with the road race has always been something that we would look forward to, but also it would be like, the end of the summer. But it was an amazing event to grow up with. Things have definitely changed from 1973 to now, as far as how that goes. My family is involved. I have 2 daughters who have run it. They've also volunteered. They've worked in the medical tents. And my husband also now works for the event as well. So it's definitely a family affair.
Nice. There's a theme here, Eric. We always hear about running and beer. This thing was founded on a beer run, basically.
Right? Exactly. Right.
Nice. So, you've been involved for a while with the race. Are there any memorable moments over the years that you can share with us and our audience?
There's so many. The first one that's really close to my heart is watching my daughters run. They started, we would allow people to start running when they were 10 years old. So my girls got to run when they were 10. That was very exciting to watch them come across the finish line,
That's
and
cool.
especially not end up in the medical tent. Cause I was like, if you end up in the medical tent, I will not be happy. But so
Yeah.
it was great to have that. I'm not a runner. I always tell everybody, if you see me running, don't ask questions. There's a problem. Just start running. So
I mean, as over the years, I think it started with 100 runners or less, right? Back in 1973. Now it has over 10,000. Were there certain milestones that you witnessed? You thought, I never thought we'd get to this point?
growing up with it, it was kind of a free for all at the finish line. There was just, thousands and thousands of people that lined the finish line. And then when I came on to start working with the event in 2012, and that was the same time we brought Dimsey on, Dimsey brought it up to another level and made it a more professional event where it was more barricades and we had to have more security and things like that. But just watching it transform from that to also the amount of money that we get to give back to nonprofits, to charities, and back to the town of Falmouth to be able to help different organizations has also been really rewarding and amazing to see happen over the years.
Yeah, and you just talked about the spectators. So I'm kind of interested to then ask, all right, I'm doing this. I'm not signed up for it, but if I was to do this race for the first time, what can participants and spectators expect? Like you said, this is a 7-mile marathon experience.
Right. It's really amazing where they start in Woods Hole and then they go past the lighthouse and there's the Rocky theme song that is playing as you're going up that hill. And apparently that is just an exciting moment to be able to come up that hill and hear that song. And then you go down into the woods and it gets a little warm through there and you come out along the beach line. And once you come out of the woods to the beach, and that's usually around mile 3, you start seeing the spectators on the course. We've added a lot of entertainment, whether it's a DJ, a small band playing at different areas throughout the course. We also added Bespoke. They do a spin class on the course. So you start getting more and more people, and there's just so many thousands and thousands of people that just cheer you on from mile 4 right through to the finish line. And it's just, from what I've heard, because I haven't experienced it myself, it's just like so exciting for the runners to be able to just get that feeling and get the motivation going through the spectators, which are amazing.
Oh, it sounds great. And also again, it's sort of unique, right? To have that for a relatively short event, right? That sounds like an experience from a half marathon or maybe a marathon, but a 7-miler, to have both the spectator experience and the world-class views, that's a pretty magical combination.
Yeah.
But there's also, I mean, again, on that sort of marathon theme, there's also a huge fitness expo, again, for a 7-miler. Like,
Yeah.
talk about the health and fitness expo.
Absolutely. So that's where I started in 2012. I came on as the expo manager. And the way I looked at it was the first touch point, first experience that a participant would have of our event. And I wanted them to start right out of the gate with it being fun, it being exciting. Prior to COVID, we had about 55 to 60 vendors inside. It was insane. It's a 3-day event, starts on Thursday. And runs through until Saturday. You do have to pick your bib up there. We don't mail bibs. We don't have race day bib pickup. And then with COVID, once we came back after COVID, we had all of our vendors outside. And then we just realized that was such a great experience too, to come from the parking lot, hear some loud music and get a vibe of, wow, this is going to be a great experience. Having stretch classes and yoga classes and sponsors giving away food, sampling items. So it's just a great time for people to come through. We have different types of vendors. We have some nonprofits have a space outside that they can meet with their teams. Sponsors get to meet with spectators. There's about 20,000, 25,000 people that come through the expo. People come to shop. Even if they're not running, they'll come and go shopping and get some awesome Asics clothing. It's the only place you can get the logoed merchandise.
The swag. We love
The
swag.
swag. Yeah, exactly. It's great.
Any post-race massage vendors?
We haven't gotten into the post-race massage vendors. I know they had them years ago, but it just became too much for like them to keep
It's
up
called
with
beer.
Yeah,
It's
the
called beer
people,
art.
those 12-ounce curls.
So, I had a question to ask you, but it's like, I'm thinking what really sets this race apart? And it's this whole vibe that leads up from, I guess, 2 or 3 days before the event, which is incredible. You can sort of make a weekend out of it.
Absolutely.
Outside the race itself, are there any Falmouth traditions that are involved, either with regards to food or local experiences that racers or spectators can experience?
Different restaurants and bars have different events that happen within their own space. Some of our charity teams will host parties at the local restaurants, whether it's the Flying Bridge that's on course or the Raw Bar. They host events there. But it's really just a fun weekend for relatives, family, friends, all to come together and experience just, a great weekend. Hopefully the weather's participates and hangs in there with us. But we also have at the expo on Friday night, we have the track festival presented by Asics, where we bring in invited athletes, milers, as well as the Tommy Cockery High School Mile. And that's all invitational. It's an incredible event to come out to on Friday night. We have food trucks. Last year we had a drone show, which was amazing, but that's a great experience open to everybody to come to. Over the years, it keeps growing. People start hearing about these incredible athletes that come to run and race on the track at the high school. And then on Saturday morning, we have a SBLI Family Fun Run. It's open to 1,000 children ages 2 to 12, free.
Wow.
And they get to run the track depending on their age. We have them sectioned out. Last year, we added a mascot race, which was so much fun. I've been trying to add it for years and finally got it. Pat Patriot, once he signed on, then we had Wally and Tess from the Red Sox. We had Blade from the Bruins. We did have Lucky from Celtics, but he had a last minute in-house thing he had to go to. And then our police and fire department got involved and they brought on the crime dog and Smokey, and Dave McGilvery ran as the DMSE cone. So he was a road cone. It was hysterical. It was.
How long is this run?
Event.
This mascot run?
It's really a short run. It's just, very short. It's not very long. We do it right before. It is amazing. We had them all dress and line up. We brought them in on press trucks to the racetrack and then they got off. I mean, it was just hysterical. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was. It was great.
My God.
Sponsors got into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had
This should be
Olipop.
called, we should call this the Asics Falmouth Festival or something.
Yeah, well, that's our track festival that's on there. So one of the things I love about my job is just being able to be creative and come up with some fun ideas that people want to get involved in. And then I'm very fortunate that I have a team that backs me up on it and is right there with me to create all this fun stuff.
I guess that's kind of what is interesting, right? Because I love this. I can't stop thinking about it, but it's a 7-mile marathon, right? As you're sort of from an experience standpoint,
Right.
There's a fitness expo, there's events for days leading up to it, where your typical, locally, you pull up in the morning, you pick up your bib, you run your race, and you get a t-shirt and you go home. So for not that much more distance, I mean, what a kind of spectacle this is. I'm taken back by that. And you're probably not held to the same stodginess that the big marathons have to be. Like you can have a mascot race, right? Like you can make it fun and make it engaging. I got to imagine you get celebrities that come and run this race, that they pop over from the vineyard or Nantucket on their yacht.
Exactly. We do. I mean, we have had, quite a few celebrities where, some of them are athletes from the New England sports teams that have charity teams, and they have run it in the past. But we try to keep everybody, on the same level and give them their space. They come here to enjoy their vacation time. So we want them to, be able to relax and join in with everybody else. But yeah, and a few years ago, we did Molly Seidel. She came after winning the Olympics, and we
Cool.
started her last. And for every person that she passed, Asics donated $1 to Tommy's Place, which is a home for children with cancer. And it was amazing. Like
How many did she pass?
she passed quite a few. She did. I want to say she passed probably like 7,000 of them. And then her sponsor matched the donation. So it was amazing. But she was like such a trooper where she would pass people, and people were wearing signs that are like, my golly, Molly passed me. It was fun. So we try to come up with great things like that every year.
I love it.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a little bit about the local community and the impact that the Falmouth race has on this. It's not just it's on race day, right? It's sort of building up for the weekends. Are the community folks, the business leaders, like, are they excited about this? Or are they like, oh, this is going to be a big traffic jam? Just
Right.
curious. Yeah.
It's like every community. You have those who are behind you 100% and excited and get involved. And then those who are like, oh, God, I don't want to be impact. I can't get to the beach. I can't get to the grocery store. I can't get a reservation. But I would say majority of the community is behind Falmouth Road Race, because we do give back to the town. We do support them in a lot of ways. A few years ago, the race used to be the second weekend in August, and the town had asked us to move it to the third weekend because a lot of people felt that right after the road race, summer ends. So they asked us to extend it, just to extend the summer season one more time, or one more week.
You must have,
Yep, go
sorry,
ahead.
you must have an army of volunteers.
We do. We're so fortunate that we have an incredible volunteer team, that managers, Carrie and Brian Brody, that have been with us for a number of years. And they get sports teams, high school athletes that come in as groups. I mean, we give them a donation to their organization that saves them from doing like 10 car washes over the summer, because we can give them what they would make, and they volunteer and they help us out, and they're amazing. They all love it. And then we give a scholarship to graduating seniors every year.
Wow.
Last year was a little over 100,000 that we gave back to scholarships to high school students. So if you volunteer,
you're kidding,
you can apply for a scholarship. Yeah, it's amazing.
This is wait, just curious about the scholarship piece. So this is for graduating high schoolers, and the sponsor of your volunteer program is G2 Capital Advisors.
Yes. Yep. They have to live in Falmouth, but they can go to Falmouth Academy, Falmouth High School, Mashpee, because we've had to tap into the other neighboring towns to help us out with volunteers. But it's a great way for the kids to come in and help out. For the expo, the week before, we get all the deliveries, the coffee mugs, the bags, the whole 9 yards. But we use the football team to help us offload the 18-wheelers. And it's the start of their training for the football season. So it's it works as like a team building thing for them. It's training. They let to lift a lot of boxes. They're working in the heat, offloading 18-wheelers. They're so much fun to work with. Everybody who oversees a volunteer group that's, high school kids, they're respectful, they're into it, they love it, and they come back year after year. So
Art is wondering if you will take 2 high school kids from Arlington for scholarships as he's sending them up to.
He's sending them, yes. Well, they can think about doing an internship when they're, if they want to come and do an internship in the summer. We are really expanding on our internship program as well.
You do? What's involved with that? Wait, I'm curious about this.
Yeah, exactly. So we bring in either a high school kid during the winter season, or mostly what it's college kids that we have in the summer in specific areas, whether it's as an elite athlete or invited athlete intern. They would work with our athlete managers, our adaptive athlete manager and our invited athlete manager, and they work with them over the summer, how working with managers, working with our host family program that we have. So just learning about that. Creative director interns we have. They'll work with our creative director on AI programs, our branding, the whole 9 yards on that area. We have office interns. We have an expo intern. So there's different areas that they can choose and pick and learn the event and get some great experience. Yeah, it's a pretty cool program we've had for years.
That's cool. It's amazing. This little seed that was planted in 1973 has sprouted all of these flowers everywhere across the community.
And I would say not only that, I mean, what you're talking about, right, is this sort of local community impact, high school students, volunteers, restaurants. But am I reading this correctly that the Falmouth Road Race has raised over $71 million for charity over the past 25 years? I mean, that's it's an astounding number. Just talk to us about the charity aspect of this 7-mile marathon, right? I mean, again, same thing, right? Like marathons have these big fundraisers, but it's a 7-mile race that's raised over $70 million. I don't understand.
Yeah, so we have a Numbers for Nonprofit program, and it's sponsored by Dana-Farber. And it has about a third of our race, 4,200 participants and 230 teams. And it's managed by Andrea Norris, who's been with us for a number of years. And it's just an incredible program where they fill out an application in September. It's reviewed. They have to be a Massachusetts-based charity team, 501c3. They have certain guidelines and whatnot to follow. Their money that they raise has to go to a Massachusetts charity team. And this is a program that we started years ago. So it is accumulated over to $70 million. Just last year alone, it was 7.8 million that we raised. So every year it increases. It's just, we're fortunate for those who don't get into the race, have an opportunity to run for a charity team. The limits on the charity team is based on each individual team that we have. So it's up to the team captains to choose what they have to run for, what their cap is or raise monies for.
Wow.
It's really amazing. It was actually Dave McGilvery who I think highlighted it for us or punctuated it for us about this sort of New England spirit of giving. Mm-hmm. I just sort of, my takeaway from this is, again, like a 7-mile race that happens in New England. And you're saying all this, that's $70 million of money going back to Massachusetts-based charities. It just says a lot to me about the New England spirit of giving and a lot about just New England in general. So it really makes me happy to hear what you're saying.
Yeah, it's great because the one other thing that's different between us and a marathon is, marathons, you have to train years. You have to do a year in advance. You got to train for it. You got to qualify for it. With Falmouth, you just, we do have our invited athletes. Absolutely. We have some incredible elites that come to the race, but the average person who lives in Falmouth that just loves the event and wants to run and, has a charity that is close to their heart, whether it's Tommy's Place, which is a summer place for kids with cancer to come for vacation, or if it's Dana-Farber that you're raising money for, it's amazing. But there's so many charities that you can choose to pick to raise money for. And it all just goes right back to them. So it just adds another incredible layer to our event.
Can we get into the details, the logistics about registration? Like, is this just first come, first serve? Is it a lottery?
You can't call it a lottery. It's a random selection, but it is. So we open May 1st for Falmouth residents. We do verify. You do have to be a Falmouth resident taxpayer in the town of Falmouth in order to be guaranteed an entry into the race. So that is from May 1st to May 7th. Then May 8th, we open up for general registration. And that goes until the 17th. We do verify all Falmouth residents. Once we have verified all of them, have seen proof that they are a resident, then we will give those numbers to our registration company and they will take out of the general selection the numbers that we have. And then what's left, they will do a random selection and you're notified around the 22nd 23rd of May. Something different that we are doing this year, it was always an application process before, where you filled out an application, then you went through the random selection. If you got chosen, you received an email and then you filled out your credit card information. So you're almost registering again. Now you'll put your credit card information in, and if you get accepted, it'll be charged automatically once you're accepted. So you don't have to go back and say, oh my gosh, I forgot to look for that email, because we get a lot of those that, you only have a certain time to go back in and fill out that application again.
So it's almost like you have three pools of runners. You've got the folks from Falmouth, you've got the folks not from Falmouth, and then you have charity runners.
Correct.
So how do you register to become a charity runner?
So on our website, there's a drop down of all of our nonprofit charity teams. And there's a captain that you would reach out to see what the qualifications are to run for their team. Each one is a little bit different. Some of them are already full, believe it or not, which is a little scary that we already have, we're way ahead of where we were last year of those who've already registered for a charity team and a fundraising. So some of our teams are already full, but you can go on there and just see something that might be close to your heart, whether it might be American Red Cross, it might be CCLS, it might be Dana-Farber. There's a couple of local ones as well.
And I understand there's also a wheelchair division?
Yes, we're celebrating our 50th running of the wheelchair this year, which is amazing. Bob Hall ran it 50 years ago and won the division, which is amazing. I can't believe it's been around for 50 years.
Wow.
But yes. So we do have a wheelchair division for the 7 mile as well as the mile on the track. We have a wheelchair division for that as well.
Oh, This is you've done so much. I don't even want to ask this question, but what do you envision for the future of the Falmouth Road Race? Like what else, what other initiatives or plans? I mean, do you have anything exciting on the horizon or, that you wish that you're hoping you can do in the future?
Yeah. So this year, being my first year as the executive director, I really just want everything to go smoothly. I'm usually the one that adds all the excitement and new things that are happening to the race. So I kind of am like just stepping back a little bit and need to get a year under my belt of everything going smoothly. We are, have a few things that we're working on. The mascot race will be back again, which will be great. We're getting so many inquiries every day for that. We have a VIP tent at the finish line, which every year we've increased on that. It's catered by Eat Your Heart Out Catering. It's sponsored by Tito's. So they do some sampling in there, which is, have a Bloody Mary and a mimosa at the finish line with a nice egg sandwich. It's pretty cool.
I'm in.
Yeah. And we really changed that up about 2 years ago. We've raised Dimsey is incredible with, some of the operation things that they bring in. So they designed a new tent for us where they raised it up. So we have 2 levels now on our finish line tent, one on the ground and then a second level. So you can really see the finish line and watch them coming down the hill. It's an amazing area and space to be in.
We've had a number of race directors on the podcast, but we've never asked this question, do you, and because you're a new race director, like what do you expect your race day routine to be and sort of your mentality that day?
Everybody keeps asking me that. And, I've always been at the finish line and I've never, believe it or not, in 13 years, I've never seen the course on race day. Whether this will be the first year that I actually get to see the course on race day, I'm not sure. It's kind of going to be, a last minute thing to see where I'm needed most. But we have an amazing team of, members that know what they're doing. And my job really is just to make sure that they have the tools to do their job and the support that they need to fulfill it. So I am kind of just going to be wherever I need to be. Hopefully I'll be able to do the start line and actually get to see the course on race day and then finish at the finish line. But if I need to be somewhere else, I will be wherever I have to be.
Cool.
You'll be on the walkie-talkie, right?
Yes, exactly. I'll be on the radio. Yeah.
That's great. Well, Megan, this has been a blast, but we have one last question, and we ask this question to all of our guests. Tell us why you agree that New England is the greatest endurance region of the country.
Mm-hmm. It's a good question. Why, I do get to travel around with Dimsey and see some amazing areas and locations, but I do think New England is pretty special because you don't know what to be prepared for. The weather can change in an instant. We could be running in snow next weekend for the Boston Marathon. We could be running in, 100 degrees in August, but we could also be running in 50 degrees. It could be freezing rain. New England is just, you never know what to expect. You never know what you're going to get, but it's just, you're going to get some amazing people. And New England is just, it's a great place to be.
Awesome.
Well said.
I finally understand it, Eric. I finally get why the Falmouth Road Race, the Asics Falmouth Road Race, is so iconic. There's so many layers to it. I mean, I woke up this morning, I was like, I have to put myself in a running vibe. So I put on my Somerville Roadrunners cap. We're recording this a week out from the Boston Marathon, and I'm just getting super excited to go down and watch that race. But I finally understand why Falmouth is so amazing.
I get it as well. And it's interesting, there are a number of these iconic races throughout New England. I think about like the Tufts race and the Falmouth race and Boston Marathon, but I have learned a tremendous amount about I didn't know 90% of what we talked about. I knew it was a 7-mile race, but all these other things, Megan, that you shared with us today, it's really, really inspiring and
Thank you.
really exciting what you're doing.
Is there anything else you'd like to mention before we sign off here?
Oh, I, really appreciate, meeting you both and being on this podcast. And, if anybody has any more information on the race or wants to register, you can always go to our website. It's just falmouthroadrace.com. And, our host family program, we didn't get a chance to talk about that, but that's an amazing program that we do here that a lot of races don't do. And that's
what is that about? Can you share that with us?
Of course. We put our elites up with host families in town. They're families that live here, and we've done it for a number of years. Instead of putting an elite in a hotel room by themselves, they actually stay in a house with a family who some may pick them up at the airport, but they feed them. We'll take them to the vineyard. They'll take them and do things with them. Some of the people have, beautiful properties, whether they're on the ocean or in their backyard, but they really treat the elites like royalty. And we're so fortunate that we have so many great families that are willing to do it. We have about 50 families that take in our elites.
Wow.
And some of them will take in the elites family if they want to bring, a sibling with them for support. They'll take the whole family in. So it's an amazing program.
Cool.
Yeah,
that's really
it really
cool.
is. They make sure that they get there. They make sure they eat. They make sure that they are picked up at the end of the day, that all their needs are met. And some host families have gone to the Olympics to see these elites. So the relationships that they build with these elites is amazing. Yeah,
I mean,
it's pretty cool.
I'm really curious just how many other races in New England of this distance or around this distance have a wheelchair division, have this thing for the elites,
The Expo,
kids race, expo, mascot,
right.
And Tito's and egg sandwiches at the finish.
Right, exactly. I have to get my hair colored every week now. It's like, it's crazy, but it's fun.
Incredible. Megan, fantastic interview today. Thank you so much for joining us on the New England Endurance Podcast. I wish you nothing but the best of luck in this year's race in third week in August. And thanks for the great conversation.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and we've also got some pretty big sponsors for the New England Endurance Podcast, so we're going to mention them now. That's Lark Fine Foods, which is a 100% women-owned specialty food company baking delicious small batch cookies inspired by grown-ups. And The Everyday Athlete, written by our fabulous host, Art, here. It's a book about balancing work, family, and fitness. And we got to figure out a way, Art, to have that involve host families and all these. Right? I mean, I can't stop thinking about the host families. Like, it's such a cool aspect of the race that I had no idea about. I'm maybe we're going to have another interview on this race to learn to keep scratching the surface.
Absolutely.
But, there's a lot more to learn, and I'm sure you can find it all on the social media. So as Megan said, go to falmouthroadrace.com. They've got a Facebook page, there's an Instagram page, YouTube channel. We'll tag everything on ours, which is at New England Endurance. And there'll be lots of ways you can link back to the race, but it's going to be hard to get an entry. That's what I can tell you right now.
Unfortunately, it is, but it's, there's always a charity team.
Cool. Well, until next time, everyone listening, keep pushing your limits. drop some hammers and get out there and explore the beautiful terrain of New England. Thank you.
Thank you.